All right, welcome to Loft 180. Thanks for sticking around even after I made everybody come up here. So terrible. Yeah. All right, lock in. If you're a student leader, make sure you get your lock-in permission forms, get them home, get them signed by your parents, and try to get them back to me by Friday. Student leaders are allowed to invite one friend and one friend only, because I can't have a lock-in with 40 kids because I will die and go crazy. So this is why just student leaders and one friend, that just keeps the numbers down. And so don't feel bad if you get invited, it's just because I can only do so much. Next slide. Are we closing? So, here's the deal. I have not gotten any more fundraising in the last month or two. So I'm going to start proceeding with giving up the rent for this place. But that doesn't mean that Loft 180 is necessarily closing. We're going to try to find somewhere else to meet, whether like in the summer it's nice to meet out in the park. Or if I can rent a space at the YMCA or rent a space at a church. We'll still hang out, because I always say Loft 180, it's about the people. It's not necessarily about the building. So that's where we're proceeding forward with, and we'll still be up here for at least another 2 to 3 weeks. So, and then after the 2 to 3 weeks, that's when I'm gonna have to start moving stuff around and doing what needs to be done. So, unless in the next 2 to 3 weeks, a pile of money drops out of the sky, or I have a whole bunch of donors donate, that's what's gonna happen.
You do a fundraiser. Have you tried doing a Pizza Ranch fundraiser for you?
Yeah. So part of the deal with fundraising is I never have enough ambition, motivation, enough volunteers, and I don't feel like fundraising is one of my talents.
If you guys stay open till May 6th or longer, then, because it's my birthday May 6th.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be open
and
on
I'll
May
give
6th.
the money.
Yep.
Because I always
Okay,
get
yeah, Rachel.
$500.
Talk to my mom, she does a lot of fundraising stuff.
Yeah?
She can help you.
Okay.
Because we have extra stations, so we have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Most organizations have to do fundraising. And unfortunately, I failed at that, and I apologize to you guys, because this has always been volunteer. It's never been a paid gig. If I was getting paid, it would be easier to do fundraisers. But at the same time, I need to do fundraisers to get paid, so it's just a big catch-22 thing. And it kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. So yeah, keep up to date on what's happening and where we're meeting and when we're meeting and all that jazz on the internet. If you don't have internet, give me your phone number and let me know so that I can text you. So, any other questions on that? Yes, Rachel? Oh, okay. Next slide. Okay, so I've been learning from an expert at how to teach people things, because I feel like one of my gifts is teaching. I'm not the best at organizing a fundraiser, but I feel like I'm pretty good at teaching, and I wanted to get better at it. And so my mentor in teaching gave me this idea that I should ask you guys a lot of questions. So if I could get Anthony and Noah up.
Oh, Mr. O.
No,
Oh, no, not Mr. O.
this is a virtual mentor.
Oh, okay. Mr. O does this.
Guys, if you don't have any good mentors in your life and you can't find a real one,
Wait, what
there's
does
lots on
Mr. O
YouTube.
There's lots of
Yeah, I'm on
my
YouTube,
mentor.
so.
What's a mentor?
Somebody that you look up to, show you the way, good way. and-
Oh, anyway.
All right, so Anthony and Noah are going to pass out pencils and note cards. And so I want you to write a number 1 down on your note card, and I want you to answer the question on the screen on your note card. So the first question is what is your biggest life issue right now? So now, question number 2 is, if you could ask God in heaven anything, like you go to heaven and God's there and you can ask God anything you want, like anything about the world, about life,
Just like
about the Bible, whatever.
My favorite.
This one's, what is Loft 180? Like, I want your guys' viewpoint on what you think Loft 180 is. Yeah, does anybody want to say theirs out loud right now? Okay, Rachel?
Is a family in a home.
A family in a home, okay. Noah?
A safe place to stay.
A safe place to stay, yep. In celebration of Easter, which was like last week, we're gonna talk about Jesus a little bit. So, if you guys know the basic story of Easter,
God died and came back to life.
God died and came back to life, or more specifically Jesus.
What are we talking about?
If you guys know the basic story of Jesus, he is a man who claims to be God, and because he claims to be God, everybody thinks he's crazy. Well, not everybody. The religious leaders, and they're kind of mad because, like, there's only one God, and how can Jesus be God? And so they put Jesus on trial and say he's guilty, and they say he's guilty of saying that he's God. And so because he's guilty of that, they have him crucified. Crucified means, well, before they crucified him, they actually whipped him 40 times with a whip. And these whips had metal claws in them that would dig into the skin and rip the skin out, right? And I think they whipped him like 39 times. And after 40 times, you died. But they didn't do it one more time, so he didn't lose enough blood, so he's still alive. And then they made him carry a wooden cross
He's putting the box together.
from where he got whipped in the city down outside of the city up on a hill called Golgotha. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But it means Skull Hill. And it was called Skull Hill because that's where people would get the death sentence, basically.
Yay.
And the death sentence wasn't as nice as it is today. Instead of gassing people or poisoning people so they died quietly and slowly, or quietly and quickly, I should say, Jesus died a long death of hanging on a cross with nails going through his wrists or the palm of his hands, and then a nail going through his ankles. So, once he died, they put him inside of a tomb. In the tomb, there was 3 days later, the tomb was empty. Jesus wasn't in the tomb anymore. So, there's speculation on what happened there. Maybe someone robbed the body. But all the eyewitness accounts say that he, with a supernatural power, moved the rock away from the cave and left the cave and was alive, even though he had been medically pronounced dead. So, did you guys have fun with the Easter egg hunt? Raise your hand if you found an Easter egg.
I tried.
So, there's candy in these, right? Just like Jesus was in the tomb. But they found the tomb was empty. No candy. Did anybody catch that?
What, did they have candy in it? No,
candy.
Did you, Lisa, did you see the trick? Do I have to do it again?
Yeah. No. Who did?
That's not a lot.
Anthony, go pick that up. I saw you throw it.
So, candy in the egg, candy in the egg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
No
just threw it.
candy in the egg. What? Alright, just like Jesus wasn't.
What did I just smoke?
No, I'm gone.
Should I do it again?
No, because I don't like your trick. There's no more candy. That's what I'm saying.
Candy in the egg, candy in the egg.
Find it.
Candy in the egg, candy in the egg. No candy in the egg.
Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. I know how to do it. Yep.
Yep, you got it?
I got it.
All right.
I got it.
I don't got it.
Okay, Ryan, hit the next slide.
I know how to do it.
So there's 3 answers to who is Jesus.
I know I did.
The first one is, what the heck? Hit the next slide. Oh, wait, no, that isn't the slide. It's just can't read it very well.
Yeah, it's liar.
Oh, it's a liar. So either Jesus lied and he was not God,
Hit the next one.
which is really interesting. Why would you lie about being God only to get killed for it? Hit the next slide. Jesus was a lunatic. So Jesus was absolutely insane. If you know any people that have mental issues, you know that they tend to claim things that aren't real. And so Jesus might have been a lunatic, and that's why he thought he was God, and that's why he died for his belief in that. Hit the slide again, Mariah. Or he was actually God. So there's a famous book written, and this was the thesis of the book. And he goes through and disproves pretty much that he's a liar or a lunatic. Because if you look at the historical evidence and everything, you can tell that he obviously wasn't a lunatic. He was a normal person, didn't have mental issues. And he never had a history of lying, and he didn't lie to anybody. So the only thing left is that he actually was God. So if you don't know who Jesus is, I would encourage you to seek out that and find Jesus in your life and ask him to be Lord of your life. Hit the next slide. Is there another slide?
No, that should be the last
That's
one.
the last one. Okay. So, thank you guys for being awesome. And you're free to go hang out. And you're free to find more eggs too. So if you found 1 egg, you're allowed to find more than 1 egg. There are 36 eggs hidden. And I have only found, it looks like, 13 were found. So there's a lot more hiding. And if you find the trash that goes along with it, you get a bonus. Okay. So the bonus is a 50-cent credit at the